Hey guys, and welcome to another recent viewing video. And finally, I sat down and watched a movie that was like an older movie that I haven't watched in a while. I've had this basically kind of like miniature mental list of old classic movies, stuff from like the 90s and earlier in the 2000s, and I've been wanting to watch several of these movies for a long time. And this particular day, I finally managed to sit down before I went to work earlier in the day and watch The Shawshank Redemption. The Shawshank Redemption is a movie based off of a short Stephen King story, of which I don't think I've ever read the short story. It's in one of his collection books that he's done. He's got a handful of them that are full of short stories. And that one was called Rita Hayworth and the Shawshank Redemption. But the movie, it was just shortened to Shawshank Redemption. It was, I believe, directed by Frank Darabont. I guess I could look that up real quick since I'm thinking of it. Yeah, the movie came out in 1994. Yeah, directed by Frank Darabont. Screenplay by Frank Darabont, based on that short story by Stephen King. Starring Tim Robbins, Morgan Freeman, Bob Gunton, William Sadler, Clancy Brown, Gil Bellows, James Whitmore, etc., etc., etc. Came out September 23rd, 1994, so I was 19. It was about a month and a half before my 20th birthday. Over 2 hours long, and a budget of $25 million, box office of $58 million, and of course, the accolades. It was nominated for 7 Academy Awards. Didn't win any category, but it was nominated for Best Picture, Best Actor for Freeman, Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Cinematography, Best Editing, Best Original Score, and Best Sound Mixing. Received 2 Golden Globe Award nominations for Freeman and Best Screenplay for Darabont. SAG Awards, Directors Guild, yada 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 yada. Anyway, I loved this movie back in the day when I saw it. I don't recall if I saw it like when it first came out, or if this was something I waited to see later when it came out on video. I'm a big Stephen King fan, but I find that there are a lot of movies that are based on works of his that I'd never heard of. In the case of this one, I hadn't really heard of the short story until the movie had come along. But I eat up Stephen King stuff, so I think that's why I was very intrigued to check it out when it came along. Anyway, so I watched it again today. As I said, I've watched it multiple times over the last 20 years, and that just blows my mind that it's been 20 plus at this point. And it never gets old. It never gets boring. It never gets irrelevant, in my opinion. It's just a really good story, a great movie, I'm glad that the cinematography was acknowledged, because I thought that was one of the best things about this movie. Just the shots, the framing, the colors, and just everything about it. So well done. Now, before I get into kind of talking a little bit more about the movie itself and kind of the story and all that, I just want to say it really kind of came full force on me today when I was watching it, just how much I love stuff that's kind of set in the early 1900s up to the 50s or 60s. I never was really into that kind of stuff earlier in my life, but I think it's a part of the aging process. I may have even talked about this in the previous video about my problems and my issues right now with aging, and getting older and moving closer towards inevitable death, probably at the halfway point of my life, or perhaps even further along, closer. closer to the end than to the beginning. But for some reason, that's made me really become fascinated with things like World War One and Two, and our country in the early 20th century. Before my lifespan. And that's kind of a weird direction or an angle to come at it, I guess, but I just kind of have this fascination with the time and the places and the things and the people from a time where most of those people are gone now. People who were teenagers in the 30s or 40s or 50s may not still be around at this point in 2016. So I don't know. I don't really know how to kind of wrap my mind around why I'm so fascinated with that these days. But I am. And so Shawshank Redemption was kind of like right up that alley for me. So anyway, I'm not making much sense here, I don't think. But as far as the movie itself goes, okay, so I'll try to boil it down to as brief a synopsis as possible, because I don't think I want to just shoot a spoiler wad all over the place with this one. It's a movie that should be seen if you haven't seen it. But it follows the story of a guy by the name of Andy Dufresne, played by Tim Robbins, as he is sent to jail for a crime that he claims he did not commit, the murder of his wife and his wife's lover. He was angry and upset to find out that his wife was cheating on him, and he wanted to do something and scare them, and he had a gun, and he was drunk, and he went to where they were and entered and found that nobody was there, or I can't remember exactly what it was that happened. He lost his nerve, and he takes off, and the next day she and her lover are found murdered, shot to death in bed. And of course he's accused of it because, he's the husband, and it's a time when forensic evidence and all that kind of stuff can't really be relied upon because it didn't exist yet or whatever. So he gets sent to jail. And he gets sent to jail for 2 consecutive life sentences for the 2 people who he is believed to have murdered. And then the movie follows what happens in this prison between him, Morgan Freeman's character named Red, Ellis Redison, I believe, and a whole slew of other inmates and guards and the warden, and basically almost 20 years of time that passes until the culmination of the movie's plot. Which, like I said, that's why I don't want to spoil. It's very interesting. It's very clever. It's not, I was going to say heartwarming, but maybe not heartwarming, but reaffirming, I guess, for the story that's brought to light. I don't know. I just really, really enjoyed it. It's such a great movie. It's amazing that there have been so many great movie adaptations of Stephen King's stories and books. Adaptations that have actually been Oscar-worthy and Oscar-nominated. And especially stuff that's not horror. So I can't recommend Shawshank Redemption any higher. It is without a shadow of a doubt in my top 20 favorite movies of all time. It's the old reliable. If I want to watch a good movie and I want to have the heartstrings tugged a little bit, this is a perfect one to check out. Perfect in every way, in my opinion. And so take that for what you will, but I think it's a hell of a great movie. So anyway, thanks guys for watching this video, and we'll see you next time.